Hello, beautiful beings. It's Friday afternoon in man's calendar and the working week. I hope you've had a good week. I've had an interesting week. Very quiet, but productive nonetheless. And I'm adjusting and enjoying a different way of being with this new information and awareness, which is amazing. And I've been reflecting on that and reflecting on some of the things I've written and how it's helped me get to a place in life where I actually love life, and my quality of life was really important. It was one of my values, to live a long, healthy, happy life and be the change I wish to see in the world. And they were choices that I made. And because I made those choices and I made them a promise to myself, I've kept my word because it's really important to me. Honor, integrity, and your word. And they're choices. We choose whether to be like that or not. They're choices that we make. There's nobody else in our heads thinking our thoughts but ourselves. There's nobody impulsing us to actions but ourselves. There's only us in here driving this vehicle, the thoughts we think, the words we use, the deeds we perform. They're our choices. Unconscious or not, they're still our choices. So that's why I guess what they mean by free will and choice is it's from the inside out, not so much the outside in, but the inside out. The choices you make in each and every moment creates your life. And a lot of our choices we make from autopilot. We're not even conscious. We have these thoughts and beliefs that kind of like drive us and underpin us, and we're oblivious to it because it's just on autopilot. We don't even listen to ourselves. And I wanted to chat about word magic and the energies, because we're leading into a new moon on Sunday, and it's a solar eclipse as well. And that's the other thing about these cosmic events, these alignments, and they don't direct. They can influence, but they don't direct. Again, at the end of the day, it's still us in our bodies. It's still us making those choices. It's still us choosing whether to do something different or not. And that's taken at its highest. That's taken at the biggest broad brush across the board. And I know in making those choices, especially those unconscious ones, well, that's where a lot of healing needs to take place. Is if you don't want to take responsibility for your choices, then nothing's really going to change. It's when we can own our choices that we've made, the good, the bad, the tragic, the diabolical, the disasters, but also the successful ones, the creative ones, the blossoming ones. It's choices is across all things, and you got to make a choice to take a chance to create change, and it comes down to that choice of what are you going to do, what are you going to think, what are you going to be. And this is the word magic where it comes in, because where focus goes. And what's focus? Focus is your thoughts, focus is your energy, your daydreaming, your musings. Even if it's on autopilot, even if it's unconscious, it's still your focus, it's still your energy, it's still your frequency. So that focus has a reverberation. So where focus goes, energy flows. So that's your thoughts. What's on your mind? That's your focus. And you know, when you look at it from a objective point of view, that you can see what you focused on, you've manifested, or you've created, or you've given it energy. And in the work environment, that could be problem solving, that could be just data input. It's still where focus goes, you put energy into, and something comes from that. So what are you thinking? Where do you allow your thoughts to go? What choices do you make with your thinking? And I know it seems like hard work to catch yourself and rewire the brain, start challenging thought patterns and start to think something else, because I've been there myself. And what I come to realize from this is what we're trying to do is actually a positive thing. What we're trying to do is a healing thing, a self-growth, self-love, self-acceptance. They're good things. So why do we go into it with such resistance when we're actually stepping into something that's helpful and healing rather than harmful and hurting? It's interesting what we're conditioned to tolerate and not want to be excited about. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna do something about this brain of mine. I'm gonna do something about these thoughts that I have, because it's the old that has trouble letting go, and that can also be the victim mindset. So we've really got to choose our lives. We've really got to be conscious of what we choose, be responsible. What are we responsible for? Our choices. Choosing to stay, choosing to leave, choosing to tolerate, choosing to not, choosing to create, choosing not to create, choosing not to create waves. It's always a choice, what you think, what you speak, what you do, what you buy from the supermarket and you bring home, what you put into your mouth, what you drink, what you watch, what you read, what you believe. And if we don't stretch those comfort zones, those edges of ourselves, well, then it contracts. Where we're not designed to be stagnant. We're not designed to be fixed. So as every part of us grows, ages, matures, change physically, well, so do we emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Can't separate them. We're all together. They all interface with each other. They're whole at the same time. And yet they're different aspects, different dimensions of us, different planes. And it's such a personal, private world, unique to you. So it's like owning those choices. Why do you make those choices? Why did you make that choice? And are you happy with that choice? And if you're not happy with that choice, don't kick yourself. I found that the more that we speak to ourselves negatively or belittling or berating or just calling an idiot or dumb or this, that, you're not going to open up to yourself. You're going to keep shutting down to yourself. But if you can be the observer and just be curious and ask yourself, why did you do that? And just be open to the answers, even if they're gnarly. Because that's where you start to make different choices with your thoughts, your words, your deeds. And that's where focus goes. What are you thinking? So my practice is always, as I'm falling asleep, I reconcile the day, tune into my guides, ask for clarity that, through the night, whatever's going on at the time. And of a morning, checking in with myself. And that's a really powerful time that you can start to shift a lot of self-talk, that inner dialogue, by deliberately, consciously choosing to say and speak to yourself positively, healthily, encouraging yourself. Realizing you're not going to be perfect and you're not going to be a master at anything that you're deciding to choose to change. And encouragement. And yeah, it is like being your own little fairy godmother on your shoulder. So what are you thinking is going to be, I find that of a morning, what I subject myself to can set the tone for the day. So it's really important choosing and thinking into my day ahead. Okay, what have I got on? What have I got time for? What have I got space for? What have I got energy for? And doing that. And I guess it's different for everybody because we all don't live the same kind of lifestyle, do we? But still, fundamentally, it's the same principle. Where focus goes, what are you thinking? So where focus goes, energy flows. That's just quantum physics. That's just how it is, because it gives rise to. So you're creating it, whether it's in your mind, because it's your thoughts. What are you thinking? You're visualizing it. You're imagining it. You're giving it energy. It's then got the potential to manifest. So if you're thinking about past, if you're thinking about hurts, if you're thinking about painful things, you're thinking about resentment or anger or that's what you're giving energy to. That's what you're giving rise to. That's going to be in your energy field. That's going to be in your frequency, your vibration. That's what you're going to start to manifest, because that's where your energy's going. And it's not to say that those emotions and all those things are wrong. It's when we deliberately choose to hold on to them or stay in that state and give that energy, it's only going to come back and bite you on the ass sooner or later at some point in your life. And why would you want to sit in that kind of frequency or vibration anyway? Because it does damage to your body. And it's also showing you something. It's showing you something where you've either given your power away to, you haven't honoured yourself with a boundary, it's a discordant connection, or it's a discordant relationship. And relationship can be to self, to thing, to other. Everything's relationship. It's like harmonizing your vibration, your experience is your responsibility, because it's from the inside out. Even if it's from the outside in, it's still your responsibility as to how you harmonize yourself. So what you think about, you give energy to. What you think you'll give rise to, what you consciously or subconsciously seek, is seeking you, because you're sending it out there. That energy. And it was funny, I used to be concerned about what was around the corner. I wanted to know what was around the corner, to kind of like give me a sense of relief that I'm okay. And then I realized, well, hang on a minute, how I am now is going to show me what's around the corner, because how I am now is what's going to lead me. That's going to be my drawing magnet kind of thing. That's my pull. So that'll pull me towards those experiences that I do want to experience. So I'm not concerned about what's around the corner anymore, because what I determine now, what I choose now to think, focus, put energy into, because I'm thinking and focusing on it, is I'm going to meet that around the corner, because that's what I'm looking for. It's what I'm seeking. And then reality starts to grow. So awareness in the physical, start to experience on all levels. What are you experiencing? And if you're experiencing turmoil, I can bet you anything that somewhere your focus was on turmoil, whatever was going on. If you're going through change, it's because you may have had some realization or some awareness that change was happening around you. And because you've then focused and honed in on what that change is, instead of maybe trying to block it, resent it, restrict it, that change, it wasn't happening. But because you are focusing on that change, you're allowing it to come in, and you're beginning to feel it and work. How do you work with it? So your reality starts to grow, because that's what you're putting your energy into, because that's where your focus was going. And then the results show. You manifested physically. Proof of where your focus has actually been. What are you living? So So where focus goes, energy flows, reality grows, results show. So this comes back to where focus goes. What are you choosing to think? What are you choosing to put your energy towards? And it was the same with seeds of change. You know, one does not just simply arrive at self-love or self-mastery, not if you've not had that as a life experience. We may think it comes naturally, and yep, it probably does in a healthy, secure, functioning life that's not had trauma or abuse, that has fundamentally changed you and how you interface and react in the world. So that just doesn't come naturally, self-love or self-mastery, if that has not been your experience. Almost like the opposite has been your experience. That sets up the thinking, because children observe and they absorb. We learn a lot by energy, behaviours, deeds, actions, how we're treated, not just how we're spoken to. There's a lot that a child will inadvertently learn incorrectly about themselves from dysfunctional family dynamics. And then we get to adulthood and we realise, oh my God, I've got to go back and undo all that. So I have a different life experience, so I'm not repeating patterns, trying to reconcile or resolve that dysfunction from our childhood. And we don't just even arrive at self-confidence. If we do, it would be like false self-confidence, that if something came along and pulled the rug out from under your feet, you would fall, you would collapse, instead of doing a step and letting it go and stepping into something else. But there are steps you can take towards self-mastery, self-love, self-confidence. Even if it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back, sideways shuffle, pirouette, off you go again. That's still forward movement. It's still moving towards, it's still learning and experiencing, growing and experimenting and experiencing. Still forward motion. And as with any self-healing and self-awareness journey, it begins with self-reflection. And these are the seeds of change. Self-reflection leads to self-awareness. Self-awareness leads to self-acceptance. Self-acceptance leads to self-respect. Self-respect leads to self-trust. Self-trust leads to self-confidence, and self-confidence leads to self-love. It's like once my mind worked out the steps for me, and it may not resonate for everybody, but for me, it really helped me make sense of how do I get there then. Oh, these steps, and what do I do in each step to get me there? And when you apply it in your life, when you actually deliberately choose to practice the steps, you actually do end up walking yourself towards self-love. I wrote A Spirited Life back in 2013, I think it was, and I broke it down into 3 sections: mind, matter, and magic. Mind is the mental plane. It's where our beliefs are, and it's all about empowering our beliefs. Know what your values are. Matter is the physical plane, energizing this body. Know what feeds your body and grounds your soul. Magic, that's the causal plane. That's engineering beauty. Know how to create a life you love. Promise yourself that you will do what you can to assist yourself to heal, or whatever promise you want to make yourself. Sounds like he's doing skids. So you promise yourself. What's your promise? My promise was to live a healthy, long, happy life. And my other promise to myself was to be the change I wish to see in the world. And I honour those promises. And I've even got visual cues in my kitchen. I've got a really beautiful font, printed it out on A4, got it laminated, and they stick up. And it says, promise, practice, persevere. I made that promise to myself. And even though I might not read it consciously and take the words in, I'm taking those words in every day, and it's a visual cue to remind myself that that's where I do find my peace and harmony, is that practice of living a long, healthy, happy life is my choice. And I chose to make that my responsibility, because it is, and do something about that. And the practice, it's your tools, that's visual cues to remind me what I'm trying to achieve and to keep it. A long, healthy, happy life, yeah, it's worth it. It took me down many, many, many rabbit holes, and I'm so glad it did, because that was also part of my awakening and realization, and veils lifting and blindfolds ripped off, and seeing the world as it is and not how it's painted out to be. And that's what a spirited life is all about as well. And so the practice are my tools, and I have tools that help me keep that promise, and I stick to them. And if they need upgrading, then they need upgrading. Keep working on it, and then to persevere, because there are times when you just want to stop it trying. I'm tired of this, and the practice all the time. And it's those times when I think you actually are through really close to a breakthrough or to change, manifesting, and it's important to persevere when you get to those points. And you can rest. Rest doesn't mean you quit. Rest just means you're having a rest. But you're still persevering with your promise. Awareness, attitude, approach. Should put it on silent, shouldn't I? Awareness is knowledge or perception of a situation or fact. Use self-reflection to know what that is. That's that quiet time when you actually go in and explore and think about and muse over if there's an issue or something in your life. Bring awareness to what that is. Attitude is the manner you adopt once you're aware of the situation or fact, the thoughts and feelings to adopt to bring about success. Approach is how you meet every experience in life, and through awareness and conscious attitude, your approach will positively shift to create the best approach, because you've created awareness around it. So if it's a problem and you've realized what the solution is, you adopt the attitude of implementing the solution, which is your approach. Believe, become, broadcast. Believe. What you believe about yourself drives your choices and decisions. Listen to your heart, not your head. Become. Become. What you believe about yourself, you will become. It will be the energy you carry with you. And it's the energy you believe. So you're self-perpetuating. And so then you're broadcasting it. You broadcast to the world what you believe about yourself. You broadcast to the world what your beliefs have led you to become. So believe, become, broadcast. And I guess with everything, it's funny. It all starts with self-reflection. It cannot not. Of deliberately choosing to carve out that time to sit and reflect, to maybe even sit and occupy that left thinking brain. So gardening, swimming, the dishes, things that you can do on autopilot occupies that left thinking brain and can free you up to then be more creative. Think different thoughts. Choose to do something different. So we make choices all the time, and it's trying to bring your conscious awareness to what those choices are, and they're usually based on your beliefs. And so you got to choose to challenge yourself. You got to want it though. If you don't want it, then it's only going to be a half-hearted effort. It's like that's what really drives you, is how badly do you want to live a life you love. That'll pretty much dictate your choices. Have a beautiful night. And this is, yes, another reason why I wanted to check in and talk about the choices we make, because we're leading into a new moon. We're leading into a solar eclipse, and let's just be conscious of that energy. Let's just be conscious of bigger cycles and bigger energies and going on in the world. I talked about war the other day, just before I think it all broke out. Where focus goes, energy flows. Even though you may not want war and you despise war, or don't give it energy. If nobody paid any attention to it, like even down to soldiers, and just walked away from war, we'd have to find another way of resolving conflict, wouldn't we? Because there are other ways to resolve conflict. But I think humanity's not grown up enough yet, or evolved enough yet. Technology maybe. It's really weird how we've put so much importance on technology where humanity is still in its infancy. And we really don't know the repercussions of all this time, energy and money being poured into technology instead of pouring it into repairing the soil. We're pouring it into natural resources and repairing what we have damaged. Choices. Choices, choices. And it starts at home. It starts at home with the choices you make. So sending so much love. Have a beautiful weekend. Enjoy the new moon. And I'll check in soon. I hope. Amen. So mote it be.